Welcome to A Double
and
Dice
with your host Kim.
and Jocelyn.
Pour your favorite beverage,
Pull up a comfy chair.
because we are ready to roll.
Welcome to episode 47 of A Double and Dice. And today we are continuing our series on female characters and Dice Masters with Batgirl. And Batgirl kind of comes along with our last episode, which was episode 46, because we talked about
Oracle
Mm-hmm.
was also Barbara Gordon.
Yes. So we thought we'll continue on with Oracle or Barbara Gordon, because it all fits in, because she's also Batgirl. Yeah, so today we'll do Batgirl. But before we do that and get into her, we're going to dive into the dice bag first.
Yeah, we got a fair amount of feedback from the last episode, and we thought it would be a good idea to start there before we get into new content about Batgirl. So first off, Kim,
Yes.
you committed to reading The Killing Joke
Yes.
before we got to this episode. So did you read The Killing Joke?
I did.
Awesome. Okay, so tell us about The Killing Joke.
I'm not going to get into too details because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but
You don't want to spoil a comic book that's like a zillion years old?
I know, but still. Okay, well, first we'll say spoiler alert, okay? Yeah, so I read it. So the part about, because we discussed in our last episode that Barbara Gordon was shot, and that's how she got paralyzed by the Joker. So yes,
Oracle.
that happened. Yeah, that happened in the book. She was shot actually right at the front door while she was with her adopted father, Jim Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
And she opened the door. She got shot right in the stomach by Joker, and pretty much she was paralyzed, and that's what they said in the book. There wasn't much other story with her other than there was some hospital talk with Batman. And then Jim Gordon pretty much got kidnapped, and off the story went. That was only really what Barbara Gordon in the book was, but overall, I thought it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a story that really got me that I finished it and said, wow, that was a good read. Not to say I didn't enjoy it, but it wasn't like, it didn't excite me about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, it is a comic book from 1988.
Yeah, it's
right?
old.
So it's a one-shot graphic novel from 1988, so it's quite old. It is by Alan Moore.
Yes.
Who is quite renowned as an author, although I have read that he has since disowned the story.
Well, yeah, it is a bit dark. It takes on some, areas that you probably don't want to really go down a path.
Less than positive ways.
Yeah, and I'm sure today reading that modern, that wouldn't be that comic book probably would have made the shelves. I don't know, right? So I mean, if you're gonna read it, just go in there. It's a little open-minded because it is a bit I don't know what the word I'm gonna use. Eerie? No, I don't know. A little, how they abuse Jim and stuff like that. It's very like the Joker, right? It's a little deep.
Yeah. So it says here that even Moore, in retrospect, has expressed his displeasure with how the story turned out, and that many readers felt the violence towards Barbara Gordon was too much. And I understand from Chris at the Ministry of Dice, who reached out to us about the podcast and gave us some context. He started his feedback with, "The Killing Joke is dark," all caps.
Yeah.
And he said that Barbara Gordon's aspect of the story has been the subject of much criticism, and he said that we should look at something called the woman in refrigerators concept. He said it's kind of dark, and he wasn't sure if it was where he wanted to go with the podcast, but this is a perfect example, I guess, or is often raised an example of this concept. So we did have a quick look, and we're not going to get into the details of all of this, but the concept of women in refrigerators, or fridging, it came about in 1999 where a group of feminist comic book fans started listing examples of the superhero comic book trope whereby female characters are affected by injury, raped, killed, or depowered, which is an event commonly known as fridging, sometimes to stimulate protective traits and often as a plot device intended to move a male character's story arc forward. And then it seeks to analyze why these plot devices are disproportionately used on female characters. So that's the concept of fridging. And I wanted to sort of bring that up because that's kind of one of the things we've talked about as we've been going through these female characters in Dice Masters. Not that they are disproportionately damaged, but that there aren't that many of them, and their stories often seem to be less about them and more about,
who they're married to.
Exactly. Who they're married to, or did they have to kill their husband, or, so I was not familiar with this concept at all. And I really appreciate that Chris brought it forward. And if you're interested in it, I would encourage you to have a Google and take a look at it. The website appears to, I think you can still find it, but there's lots on the internet about it just in general. And we did do a quick little research about specifically the Killing Joke. And it says that as a standalone story, it is, a textbook example of fridging. The Joker shows up at Barbara Gordon's apartment, assaults her, and as a direct result, Batman is, pushed over the edge to give readers what is considered to be one of his greatest stories. Right? So later on, they take this, and that's what we talked about in last week's episode about Oracle, and she was able to, become reborn essentially as Oracle, and still be, a strong female character. But in and of itself, if you take the Killing Joke standalone, then that's where the example comes from. So they got some good out of it, I guess. They took some good things out of that concept, and gave Barbara Gordon as Oracle, more story and more content, and she was able to sort of overcome. But I guess the overarching question is, why did she have to? Right? Why did it have to be a female character?
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, so if you're interested in that, I would encourage you to take a look into the concept of fridging or women in refrigerators. Lots of stuff on the internet about it. I know that's a shock that there's all kinds of things on the internet about stuff, but there is, I swear to gosh. So Chris also said that Oracle is a leading character in Gail Simone's run on Birds of Prey, and it is a tremendously good book. He highly recommends it. And Gail Simone is actually one of the key contributors to that Women in Refrigerators website that started in 1999.
Yeah, it's always good to see like a woman comic book. She's a writer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's into the art.
Yeah.
I looked up I looked her up, and I looked up the book he recommended, and it's actually hard to find in Canada. I mean, it's very high priced, so I don't know if it's just a rare thing to find, a book to find. I don't know.
I mean, I think with comics, they're printed and they're not usually reprinted, right? So unless they're collected into a trade, and then trades are usually only printed once, unless it's something super popular, like the Killing Joke. Right. So you'd kind of have to probably go find back issues and stuff. That's where like going to a Comic-Con and combing through all of the long boxes.
The big boxes. Yeah.
So, and then he also says the return of Batgirl was a classic example of retcon continuity that DC likes to do. It's a convoluted mess. So, but that's not just DC. I'm pretty sure that Marvel and all other comic places do things like that as well. So that is that piece there. We also heard from Nick, Jackalope Spam. Chris reached out to us by Facebook Messenger, by the way. So you can reach out to us there if you want to. We'll go over all the places you can reach us at the end of the episode. We heard from Nick, Jackalope Spam. As usual, he sent me a direct message on Discord at JoceStitch. And at the time that he wrote the comment, He was still working his way through the podcast, but he said as far as Oracle is concerned as a Dice Masters card, all 4 versions of her card were played for various reasons when she was modern. In his opinion, it was a really good card design overall. They all did basically the same thing in forcing the opponent to pay more. Since it was all the same character, you had to pick the best one for the time, and each had their place. So I agree with that, and I think that's what we talked about in the episode. So, if we're thinking the same way as Nick, Kim, maybe we're better Dice Masters players than we thought.
Yeah.
So he said that he thinks the global tax one was the most used because it really hurt the original PXG. So that was, if you're not familiar with OG PXG, that is pay a mask to prep 2 sidekicks from your use pile, and it could be done on your turn or your opponent's turn, and it had no limit. So Professor X Trainer, I think, is the card that it's on. There's another one as well.
Yeah.
So there's 2 of them that have that global. He said, but the action tax could really shut down Ultraman, and there's actually a ruling on that one to say that Oracle does shut down, I guess, the Ultraman concept. And I don't know, Kim, you play Ultraman, right?
I do. It's the one that if you use the Kryptonite action die, you can, and Ultraman is active, you can use every basic action that players brought.
Okay. And the Oracle that has the action cost would interact with that and make you pay, I guess, to use all of those actions, I guess.
Yeah, it's the opponent must pay 1 each time they use an action die.
Yeah, so that definitely would be quite annoying if you were playing an Ultraman team and your opponent had that across the board.
Yeah.
He said then the cheap characters and fielding tax could disrupt things like Guy Gardner. All in all, great design. That said, she's not my style of card. I'm just not into the control playstyle, but that tax could be really annoying. And I agree. Taxes are annoying. So that was Nick. So thanks, Nick, for reaching out. And we also heard from Andy May, Andy America, as he's called by our friends at the Ministry of Dice. He sent us an email at tripledpodcast@dm-north.com. And he said, I'm enjoying listening every other week. I just haven't had much to write about. He's super excited about Dark Phoenix, which is coming up soon, hopefully. And he says, if we're doing Jean Grey at some point in our Ladies of Dice Masters series, let him know if he needs any background. He really likes the X-Men. He says, keep on doing what you do. And I think we probably will at some point get to some more Marvel characters, and Jean Grey is an interesting one, I think. So that is what we heard from Andy.
Yep. And
we didn't hear from some of our other regulars.
I know, Mr. Everybody's favorite Donnie on YouTube.
But that is okay because it is a busy time of year.
Yes.
Lots going on. And, as you hear this, American Thanksgiving has just passed.
Yes, by the time this episode drops.
So I know lots of people are traveling and visiting family and doing all kinds of stuff like that. So hopefully we can be a little part of your Thanksgiving celebrations. And that's what we heard from our listeners last episode. So I think with that, Kim, we probably want to move into Batgirl.
Yeah, let's talk about Batgirl.
All right. So, I mean, obviously Batgirl as a character has been around like for a really long time. So there's a ton of things about Batgirl, and there's no way that we're going to be able to get through everything in her history. So we're just going to try and hit the highlights. And to Chris's point, the DC, what he called the continuity mess that exists out there, it's hard to pull it all out. So, I'm
guessing he means by mess, like all these different worlds and Earths and.
Well, yeah, and they rebooted, right? So, like a bunch of years ago,
and all that stuff. Yeah.
They rebooted the comics, and they called the New 52, and they changed things and all sorts of stuff. And I can't keep track of it all. So, so what we did learn. Oh, and we didn't talk about the Discord, Kim.
Oh yes.
So the Discord, the DM North Discord, is now available to you as our listeners to join, and we have a channel in the Discord for podcast discussion. So there was quite a discussion after the Oracle episode about Barbara Gordon not being the Commissioner's daughter. And we did get some feedback that she was Jim Gordon's daughter from 1967 till 1984. And then she became an adopted daughter / niece following the Crisis storyline until the New 52 reboot, where she is back to being his daughter. So there's a lot of, changing in comics and that sort of stuff. So there was actually quite a really good conversation about the episode there. So if you ever want to be involved in like a live action conversation and not just sending us messages to be read on the podcast and for us to reply to when we remember, you can join us on the Discord for more feedback. So with that said, Barbara Gordon is either Commissioner Gordon's niece and or daughter, depending on the timeline. Mm-hmm. She is a Gotham City vigilante known as Batgirl and an elite computer hacker known as Oracle. So we know both of those things. And it says here, in this particular context of Batgirl, she is the daughter of Commissioner James Gordon and Barbara Eileen Gordon, and older sister of James Gordon Jr. Did you know there was a James Gordon Jr., Kim?
I didn't know they had a son.
No, me either. I wonder if he must not be a superhero.
Probably not.
Or a vigilante.
Just a normal person.
Yeah. So if we take a look at Batgirl's early life and career, it says that, Barbara Gordon was a young teen when her mother left her family. So that's kind of sad. And a few years after that happened, Batman debuted in Gotham City, and that inspired young Barbara to become Batgirl. She soon began working with Batman and his teen partner Robin. And then, then we have the whole thing that we talked about last week, which was she was shot by the Joker and became Oracle. So, and then as we mentioned as well, she underwent surgery and received a cybernetic implant in her spine, and she has returned to her position as Batgirl. So, she's been involved in a lot of sort of big storylines, I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And just sort of taking a look here at things that she's been involved with. She's as we mentioned, she's been working with Batman, she's been working with Robin, she's assisted the Birds of Prey. So it's just there's a lot of stuff here. It's really actually hard to sift through. There's all kinds of different pieces here. She's worked with Supergirl and tracked down Supergirl, and there's been stuff with Nightwing and the Mad Hatter, and it talks about here that there was this person named Ainsley Wells who Barbara had been friends with when she was in high school, and Batgirl and Robin had discovered that she was creating a nanotech drug which she sold to the Mad Hatter to fuel her own drug addiction. Ainsley ended up suffering from an overdose and fell out of contact with Barbara. Is that another example of fridging? I don't know. I don't know the story.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of stuff. She fought against Harley Quinn. She investigated murders by some of these evil people that I've never even heard of, like her old enemy Grotesque. Like, who's Grotesque? Do you know who that is? I don't know.
No, I've never heard of that person.
This article is massively long. Like there's so many different pieces here, that we can talk about. But I think maybe what we should do is just get into her strengths, right? So what are her abilities? What are her powers? So she is a vigilante. She's not, a mutant or a superhero in that way. So, she is very athletic. She's skilled at computer hacking. It says here that she was a ballerina as a young girl, so she's got skill at dancing. She has genius level intellect. She's got a really strong will. She's good at interrogation and intimidation and investigation. She has a law degree. She can demonstrate leadership. She's skilled at manipulating locks. She keeps at least one lockpick hidden in the lining of her cape. Being the daughter of a police commissioner, Jim has had Barbara taking self-defense classes since she was 6, so she's good at boxing, judo, karate, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, all kinds of things like that. She also holds a degree in forensic psychology, because after a law degree, isn't that what you would do? And she's accomplished at throwing batarangs. Before her, or after the Killing Joke, she had restricted mobility. She was paralyzed, it says here, for 3 years. But she had the neural implant in her spine that prevented that. So she uses batarangs. She transports herself on the bat cycle. So
I'm guessing that Gordon didn't know she was Batgirl, Oracle, all this stuff, right?
I don't think at the beginning. I feel like at some point he must have found out, but this article is so long that it's been hard for me to get to all of the details.
Yeah, I wonder if he actually ever knew.
So
I mean, she has a lot of talent. Like,
well, yeah,
she pretty much like learned everything, right?
Well, you're not going to write comic books about people that aren't talented, right?
I know, but to like have all these like, skill. She's very skilled.
Yeah, she is very skilled for sure. So there's a lot of interesting things about Batgirl. She's been, very dedicated in her career to try and demonstrate all these skills, and has, I guess, a strong will to try and help people. It's sort of what vigilantes do, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're out there helping other people. I don't know why she is a vigilante though, because like Batman became a vigilante because his parents were killed by whatever, like robbers or something, right?
Maybe just watching Batman and something.
Yeah, that's what it says here. That just watching Batman, she decided that was what she wanted to do, but she doesn't have that sort of underlying what is it, like anger, traumatic event. Mm-hmm. It does say that her mother left when she was a teenager, so maybe there's something there that she strove to try and do something to prove to her mother that she was worthy. I don't know. So yeah. Anyway, so if you know any interesting tidbits about Batgirl that you'd like us to share, please let us know. Because as we mentioned, she's been around since, what did we say, 1947?
Something like that.
So that's a lot of years to try and summarize into a short podcast.
No, she should be like 100 years old.
1967.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's still a long time. So let's get into the content of Dice Masters, Kim.
All right.
Like the whole reason we have this podcast.
She has 9 cards. 3 different sets. So 3 cards per set. The first one was from World's Finest.
Okay.
That came with a common and uncommon and a super rare, which we're all going to be familiar with that super rare.
Are we?
Sorry?
Are we?
I don't know. Let's find out. So her common card from World Finest is called Solo Act. So it's she's a masked character throughout until she hits the Batman set, which we'll get through. So she's a masked character in World's Finest, and her common card reads: if you have exactly one Batgirl in the field zone and no other character dice, Batgirl is unblockable. And her stats is 0-1-1 fielding, and then a 3-1, a 3-2, and a 4-3. So, I mean, for her to be unblockable, not too bad. You might have to buff her up a bit.
But she has to be the only die in your field zone.
She has exactly one Batgirl in the field zone. So you can't have multiple Batgirls. It has to be just one. And no other character dice.
Yeah, so you can't have any sidekicks or anything, right?
Nope.
So she has to be lonely.
Yeah. Which is kind of tough for tough to do. Her uncommon, Stealth Bat, a 3-cost mask. Batgirl can't be blocked by sidekicks or villain character dice.
I kind of like this one better.
Yeah.
So, I imagine, like, at the time World's Finest was out, villains are always pretty strong, and people often have sidekicks in the field. Plus, there were villain maker globals, right? So you could make things villains. So you could basically make her unblockable, and she costs 1 less than the common did.
Yeah. And that was her uncommon. No rare in this set, so it went straight to a super rare called Babs. Does that one sound familiar to you?
A little bit.
4 cost. When Batgirl takes damage, deal 4 damage to target opposing characters divided any way you choose. So this is quite a popular one. I think people like to use this one.
Yeah, I could see that. I know you like to use it.
Yes, I don't own one. But,
no, but was there an alt art of this one?
Maybe foil.
I'm not sure. Like, World's Finest didn't have foils back then, so I don't know.
But unless they remade
a promo
a
card
foil,
or something.
Yeah, made it into a foil for a promo or for an event or some sort.
Yeah. So when she takes damage, and it doesn't say, it doesn't qualify when she takes damage. So
nope. So it could be any type of damage.
You know,
doesn't have to be from attacking.
No, you could blocking. Give her a magic missile global, deal 4 damage to your opposing characters, do it again.
Yeah, so it's any type of damage, not just, combat damage or whatnot. It's any type of damage. So pretty much you could just sit there, and you can just ping her. She'll do 4 and pretty much try to clear your opponent's board. So
interesting. Okay. That's probably the strongest of the 3.
Yeah. The other set she appears in is Green Arrow and the Flash.
Right.
And there she has a common, an uncommon, and a rare. So no super rare there. Also mask character. Her stats are the same in this set. And her common is Kamish's daughter. While Batgirl is active, your opponent may not target your character dice with character abilities.
Okay.
Not bad. Seems a bit control.
It protects her from character abilities. It wouldn't protect her from actions or globals, but any character abilities like capturing, for example, she'd be protected from that. So that's pretty handy to have.
It protects your character dice. So it's all your characters.
All your characters?
Yep. Your opponent may not target your character dice with character abilities.
Oh, that's even better than I thought.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure your character dice means everybody in the field zone.
Yep. No, for sure.
Yeah. I guess including herself. Yeah. So
it doesn't say other.
Nope. So that's actually not bad. 4 cost. Her uncommon, also a 4 cost, Protecting Innocence. While Batgirl is active, your opponents may not target your mass character dice with global abilities.
Okay.
You have to build a mass team for that one to really work.
Yep. Yeah. And your opponent would have to be working with globals, not with actions or character abilities, but there's a spot for it, and I could see perhaps like in draft that would be really strong.
Yeah. Yep. Her last one is the rare version, which is a 3 cost. Is it Eidetic? No, wait.
I don't know how to pronounce that word. Eidetic?
Yeah, I
think it's eidetic memory.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that means. When Batgirl is active, your opponent may not target your Batgirl character dice. So that one is almost as the other one, but except that's her.
An eidetic memory is like a photographic memory.
Ah, okay.
And it does look like I said it correctly based on my quick Google here.
Thank you, Google. So there you go. That's the one that you can't target her. It's 1 less cost, so.
Yeah, but it's only her that can't be targeted by your opponent. The other one,
it's all your character dice for 1 more. So
in that case, the common sounds a little stronger.
Yeah. Yep. And lastly, she also appeared in the Batman set, She had a common, uncommon, and a rare as well. Except in this one, she wasn't a mask. She was a fist. And actually, in all the sets, she was Batman affiliated.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't change across. But she did go from a mask to a fist. Her first one is Carrying the Mantle, which is a 2 cost, while a non-Batgirl Batman character die is active, Batgirl gets +1A, +1D.
And by Batman character die, I mean Batman affiliated character die.
Batman affiliated, yes.
So that would be a static buff, like just the one. It wouldn't matter how many non-Batgirl Batman affiliated character dies you would have. She would just get the +1A, +1D.
Yeah, well, non-Batgirl can die is there. Yeah,
it wouldn't stack.
Yeah, it doesn't stack. No. From that reading, yeah. Actually, her stats for this one did change as well in this set. It was a 031, 132, 143 in the other 2 sets, and in this one, it's a 021, 022, 133.
But you like this one better, right, Kim?
Wait, is that what?
Because the die is purple.
Is it? Yeah, it is. I didn't actually check the die.
Purple's one of Kim's favorite colors.
It is. It is my favorite color. One of my favorite colors. What other favorite color do I have?
I don't know.
Is my favorite color.
I don't want to pigeonhole you with purple if you had other thoughts about colors.
That's true.
I just know purple's up there.
Yes, I will always. Okay, here we go. Side note. Here, going on track here. I'll always go to purple, like playing board games and stuff like that. I always pick purple. But if you must know, if there's no purple, my go-to color is
blue.
Yellow.
Oh, yellow.
Yeah, didn't see that one coming, eh?
I figured you'd go with something similar to purple, like blue.
No, yeah, my go-to second one is yellow. Funny, right? But I don't own anything yellow or anything like that. It's just my second go-to. Her uncommon, okay, back to Batgirl now. Her uncommon is Shadow of the Bat. A 3 cost, Intimidate. Okay, so Intimidate, as people may or may not know, when you fuel a character with Intimidate, you can pick a character from your opponent's side and they leave the field zone temporarily.
A character die, not a whole.
A character die, yes.
Yeah.
A whole character.
Not like all of the character dice of the same type.
Right. Just one die that's annoying. You could just remove it temporarily until end of turn.
But then she has a disclaimer, Kim.
Yes. Batgirl can only use Intimidate on villain character dice.
So it's only good if you're playing a villain team or you have a way to make all your opponent's dice villains.
Yep. Or if in one particular, just make it a villain. And lastly, Don't Tell Dad. A 3 cost. This is her rare. When fielded, your other Bat affiliated character dice get +1A and +1D. So buffing other Batman affiliated characters.
I mean, at a 3 cost, and because it's a when fielded effect, it would trigger every time you field her for the turn. So if you could get a bunch of them and just like spam field them, which is possible with her fielding cost being 001, right? It's very possible to do that. You just have to find a way to get a bunch of them into your bag and then roll them and field them and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. I mean, so her names, and usually we look at the card names if they even go along with their stories. A little bit. I don't know where Babs comes from though, unless that was like her nickname.
Babs is short for Barbara.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So like Barbara Streisand is sometimes called Babs.
Oh, not Barb.
No, it's a different short form for Barbara.
Okay.
Is Babs. So it would be a nickname.
Okay.
I think, solo act is probably apt. She started as a solo act until she joined up with Batman and Robin. Commission's daughter, Don't Tell Dad, Protecting Innocence. I guess she must have a photographic memory.
Yeah, I guess so, because with that named.
Yeah. Carrying the mantle.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably has to do with keeping
Batman.
Keeping the mantle of the Batman alive.
Yep.
Being in the shadow of Batman. So I think they all sort of tie in from what we saw. And as once again, way to go, WizKids.
Yeah.
But I think the strongest one for sure is Babs of all
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah. Like I don't ever really pull out Batgirl, to be honest, in playing. Not something I would think to be like, oh, that Batgirl card. Yeah, I should put that on my team. Unless you're doing like a yellow-red event, then of course you can use Babs, right? But
Yeah.
other than that, none of her other ones are really appealing.
I'm particularly a fan of the art on the Babs card.
Yeah, that's a good
I
art.
like that one. I think it's the best art of the 3 that are there. I'm not a big fan of the art on the Green Arrow and the Flash. The Batman art is okay, but I prefer the art on the World's Finest.
And look, she does have purple in that die. And she's holding a purple phone.
That's right.
And she has a purple costume.
Purple-ish. So, but yeah, so that's Batgirl. I think, yeah, if I was going to build a strong team, if I was trying to build the strongest Batgirl team I could, I'd probably put Babs on my team. If I was putting something a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more, I don't want to say friendly, maybe is the wrong word, but I might go with that Batgirl can't be blocked by villains or sidekicks. Stealth Bat, the uncommon from World's Finest.
Yep. And even if you're doing like a affiliated team and you're using Batman, I mean, you could use her Don't Tell Dad that gives your buffs to your Batman affiliated characters. So
yeah, so there's some useful cards in there. I think that there's some good ones in there. So let us know if you have played with Batgirl aside from Babs or just Babs, whatever one there. Let us know your thoughts on Batgirl. What would you build around? Do you agree with us that the World's Finest ones are probably the best ones? Let us know.
What else is going on?
The usual stuff, Kim?
The usual weekly events still happening. I'm still hosting.
A Double and Dice presents Dice Social for the W. No, I messed it up.
Oh.
A Double and Dice. No, Dice Social by A Double and Dice presents Weekly Dice Arena.
There you go. And if you were to put that in short form, I don't know. A DD&D.
No, don't even try. Don't even try, Kim. Kim is still hosting the Weekly Dice Arena for Ross.
Yes, and I have themes all the way up until the end of the year, eh? Go me.
Yeah. It's awesome.
But yeah, that happens Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern, right now on dmNorthTV Twitch channel, until we hear the word that Ross will be back. So I will continue on until we hear that word.
Awesome.
And then Thursdays is the dice fight that happens at 4 o'clock Eastern. And that's played through the Discord. So our dmNorthTV Discord and the actual Dice Master Discord, we'll put those in the show notes. So they're always there.
The Dice Masters online Discord if you're looking for it. And that's where sort of the Dice Masters community joins to get a lot of, online stuff going on. And there's quite a lot of action right now on the Looking for Games channel. There's some newer players that are trying to get themselves up to speed and they want to spend a lot of time playing online. They have the opportunity. So if you are free for a game, head over to the Dice Masters online Discord into Looking for Game and offer yourself up. So we always want to help new players get familiar with the game.
And other than that, that's it.
Yeah, and I think we won't be holding a Dice Social in December, right, Kim?
No. December seems a really busy month as it is. So we'll be back in the new year for Dice Social.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. But if you're up late at night, so is Kim, and she's always looking for games. So
not really anymore.
No, not up late at night anymore.
No, I'm like done by like 11:30.
And you call that early?
Well, to me that's early. I used to go to bed, 1, 2 in the morning.
I don't know how you did it.
Now my son's going to school and now we're getting up at a schedule.
Yeah.
I'm tired my eyes are not trying to struggle to stay open at midnight. So
yeah. Well, that's good. You should go to sleep then.
Yeah, I do.
So
I do go to sleep.
But yeah, no, there's lots of folks looking for games online. So if you're interested in playing, reach out and we'll be back with Dice Social in January. So is that all we got for today, Kim?
That is all.
Okay. So on that note, let's remind all of our listeners where they can reach us if they would like to provide feedback. And remember that feedback does not have to be read on air. Just let us know you don't want us to read it on air and we won't. So you can leave a comment on our episode post on dm-north.com or on Facebook under usually Dice Masters Unlimited, the group for Facebook Dice Masters. We post the episode there, or on dmNorthTV on Facebook. You can also find us as dmNorthTV on Twitter and on Instagram and on twitch.tv, all as dmNorthTV, as well as YouTube. The episode goes up there Monday afternoons after it launches in the morning on the podcast app. You can send us an email at tripledpodcast@dm-north.com. You can reach out to us on Discord. You can at SuperK or at JoceStitch. Again, that's JOCE Stitch. And I think that's all of the places. Oh, join our DM North TV Discord, which the link is in the show notes. So until next time, on a double on dice.